Hey! Greetings again from the World Wide Web. I'm your pilot and host, Luscious Luke, broadcasting from my garage in partnership with the good folks at Force RC. Today, we're going to change gears and we're going to do a small instructional video. Specifically, what we're going to talk about today, we're going to gear it more towards the rookies. People out there that are just getting into the hobby that need to know a thing or two on how to get your models into the air, how to keep them into the air, and how to land them well without crashing. One of those things, for the longest time, I never had any idea what dual rates and exponential was. I learned the hard way because I've crashed many planes. So one thing I'm going to show you today on a Spectrum setup, I personally fly with a Spectrum DX9. I'm going to show you how to program some dual rates and exponential to help mellow your bird out, make it a little easier to fly, and keep you from crashing. Let's take a look. Here we have a standard DX9. This is actually the black edition, but as far as programming goes, it's all the same. DX6 is going to be identical too. Let's go ahead and zoom in and take a look at the screen. Assuming you've already set up your new model, what you're going to do is go into the main menu. This scroll wheel is your button and your selector switch. So go ahead and down press one time. Then you're going to scroll down to DR and Expo. DR stands for dual rate and Expo stands for exponential. Dual rate is actually somewhat defined as the limitation of the travel of each surface. It allows it to travel up and down by a certain amount, and you set those curves, whatever you would like. Exponential basically just smooths things out. Instead of a bird being so twitchy when it's brand new and you don't have any expo programmed into it, you'll see and you'll notice that it could be a little bit twitchy and unpredictable. Your movements are very exaggerated and very, very fast. So what you want to do, and there's several ways to go about doing this, but here's the way I like to do it. It's a much more simplified way. Scroll all the way down to your switch. Click on that. Choose whatever switch you'd like. I personally like to use the C switch. I'll move this over here so you can see it. The C on a DX9 and I believe DX6, the C switch is a 3-position switch. You'll have position 0, position 1, and position 2. Position 0 being in the uppermost position. I usually like to assign that to my higher rates. Position C1 will be mid rates, and position C2 will be my low rates. I personally like to fly with high, medium, and low rates because sometimes when you're flying a model for the first time, low rates sometimes are a little bit too low and high rates are sometimes a little bit too high. So you always have something to fall back on with medium. So that's the first thing you're going to do. If you'll notice, you're on your aileron channel. You've assigned it to switch C. Go ahead and confirm that by pressing down on your scroll wheel. Then what you're going to do is scroll up to dual rates. Dual rates is the amount of limited travel that you're going to assign to the ailerons. It's a good rule of thumb to start between somewhere and between 90 and 100% for most models. Now, the faster the model, the more you're going to want to drop this number down because faster models require less travel. So if you're flying a standard model and you're a beginner, I'd recommend starting at about 100, 90 to 100. Then what you're going to do is scroll down to Expo. I've been taught a good standard Expo figure for high rates, which is what we're programming right now, is a good place to start is right around 30%. Now you definitely don't want to go back this way. If you've got a negative in front of your Expo number, you're never going to want to do that. I honestly can't think of any reason why you'd want to do that because it's going to make it more twitchy and more sensitive than it was in its stock configuration. So always give it positive Expo percentage. Good place to start, about 30 to 35%. If you've got a faster model that requires less travel inputs, you may want to go even higher than that. But that's a good place to start for high rates. Then what you're going to do is drop your switch down to the middle position. That's going to be your mid rates. A good place to start for mid rates, I would drop that down to about 75%. Now keep in mind, you're gonna fly your model, test it out, see how you like it. These are all personal preference numbers. These are not set in stone. Most manufacturers will give you recommendations on their suggestions for dual rate and expo settings initially. But you're gonna find a lot of them will be around 75% total travel. Let's scroll down to the expo setting. We're gonna set that one, let's say for 25%. So as you decrease the surface travel, you're gonna wanna increase, give yourself a little bit less expo there, sorry, and confirm that. So on 75 and 25 expo, you're gonna do the same thing. Drop your selector switch down to your low rates. Go ahead and program that number in. Let's give that one, let's say 50%. So we're gonna be at 50% total travel on low rates. 50, and let's give the expo, oops, sorry, wrong way. Let's give that 20%. All right, we're good. So now what you got is you cycle, if you flip your switch, your C switch all the way up, I like my position in the up position for my high rates. You'll notice you're at 100% travel and 30% expo. You drop it down to your mid rates, which is the middle, which is C1. You can see your travel dropped 25%, so you're down to 75%, and your exponential is at 25%. Same thing when you drop to your low rates, you've cut your total travel by 50%. So whatever surface this is, in this situation, it's the aileron channel. Your aileron is only gonna move half as much as it did in its, at the 100% configuration. So we've got 50 and 20% expo. So you're pretty much set on the aileron channel. What you're gonna do is click on aileron again, roll your clicker, your roller button to the right, and click on rudder. You're gonna do the exact same thing for rudder. So scroll down to your switch where it says on, flick your C switch, or you can go in here and actually scroll through your different switches, pick whatever switch you want. Again, it's all personal preference. Select switch C, and you're gonna do the same thing for rudder. We're gonna say 100%, and then we're gonna give it 30% expo. On mid rates, we'll drop it down to 75 and 25% expo. Low rates, let's drop it all the way down to 50, so we're taking half of the total travel out. Ooh. And we're gonna give this, let's say 20% travel. I'm sorry, 20% expo. Okay, so now again, when you switch, you're on low rates, you got 50 dual rates, 20% expo. Flick it to the middle position, that's your mid rates. You got 75% dual rates and 25% expo. High rates, 130. You're gonna do the same thing again for your elevator. So go through that same process, set your elevator to wherever you want it. We're gonna be on switch C, so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and take a look at what this correlates to on a model so you can see how the surfaces, they readjust as you move the selector switch. So here we have a E-flite UMX Beast. This is a 3D capable plane. It's highly maneuverable. So having dual rates and exponential set up on a model like this is highly recommended. This is a great candidate for dual rates and expo. So let's show you exactly what it's going to look like when you go ahead and adjust these channels. So I'm going to give it full up elevator, full right aileron, and full left rudder. I'm in low rates right now. I'm going to go ahead and flick the switch to mid rates and watch all of the surfaces move.
Mid rate.
They've moved a little bit further. I'm going to switch to high rates now.
High rate.
That's their maximum amount of travel. So you can see at high rates, you get a lot of elevator movement, you get a lot of aileron movement, and a ton of rudder movement. This gives you full control of the airplane. but it also makes it to some of the moves that it'll make a little bit exaggerated. So you can tone it down, go back down into mid rates,
Low rate.
and low rates. So that's how that works, guys. That's dual rates and exponential explained. Thank you guys for taking the time to tune in today on our little demo of Dual Rates and Expo. Sometimes simple functions of a programmable remote like Dual Rates and Expo can be the difference of leaving the hobby altogether or enjoying the hobby and sticking with it. These little tips and tricks that we're going to give you guys are going to help keep your planes in the air and keep this hobby enjoyable and as least expensive for you as possible. Thank you again for joining us today. This is your pilot and host, Luscious Luke, signing off.